Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts. In today's video, we're going to be making this gift box, which it was inspired by the vase dies that you could purchase from Tonic Studios. I don't have those dies, so I'm not sure how big that box actually came out. And this one differs slightly in that it comes apart in the middle like so. The overall height of the box is 7.5 inches. It's 2 inches at the base and 3 inches at the widest point. Because we make the box in 4 panels for the lid and 4 panels for the base, it would be really easy to resize and reshape the overall box to suit your needs. You could make it shorter, wider, taller, etc, etc. The box comes together very quickly, so let's put the box together. For the base of the box, you'll have 4 pieces which are 4.5 by 3.5. Along the 4.5 inch side, score at half, 1.5 and 4. Rotate, so we've got the 1/2 inch section and the wider section at the top. Score at 1/2 inch, and then at 1 inch score down to the second score line and repeat at 3 inches. So we'll have 2 score lines at 1 and 3 which are only scored down to this second score line. So you'll repeat that on all 4 pieces. Fold and burnish along your horizontals. Take your stylus and ruler, and on each piece we're going to score the top of this score line up to the corner here, and from the top of this score line up to where these score lines intersect here. So each piece will have this scored funnel effect. Take your scissors. We're going to start by completely removing this left hand side. So I'm cutting up the score line, up to the second score line, and then I'm following the diagonal score line like so. So I've completely cut away that section. Rotate the piece. We're going to cut up the first vertical score line up to the second horizontal, like so. Rotate and remove that section. Move along to the next vertical and cut up to the second horizontal, like so. Rotate, cut up the score line to remove that excess, and then shape. Take a wedge from the ends of that glue tab. So our piece now looks like this. Move along to the final vertical and cut up to the horizontal, like so. Take a wedge from this small glue tab, and then we're going to cut from the bottom of this score line here diagonally up to create a glue tab for the side of our box. Rotate and just take a wedge from the top end. So all 4 pieces will look like this, and then we can go in and fold and burnish our right hand side score lines. So we'll repeat that process on all 4 pieces, and then we're going to join our pieces together. Now, I've personally found it easiest to add the pieces with this large glue tab first, and then the 2 top and bottom glue tabs. This section here is going to fold in, and this is where we're going to add here the base. If you do find that your pieces don't quite meet up at the top, you can obviously trim around the top edge, but you'll get a nicer look to the box if you can get this score line and this score line lined up. I'm going to use my quick grab glue. As you can see, I've already added my 3 pieces together. So I'm going to add glue to this section line up my score lines, then I can add glue onto this bottom tab, this piece lined up together, and then I can add glue onto the small glue tab at the top and get the top piece added. So once my 4 pieces are joined, I can just get the box into shape, the box base into shape. So I can now go in and add my final section. So we can fold our base glue tabs in. Just check whether you need to trim anything off the sides of those so that they're not overhanging. And then for the base, I have a square which is 2 inches by 2 inches, and that's going to sit on the top like so. So we'll get that into place with our construction glue. So once that's in place, I can go in and just push that down. And then if I need to go around any of the sides and trim it slightly, I can do that. So that's the bottom half of the box. For the top half of the box, you'll need 4 pieces, which are 3.5 plus a 1/16 of an inch times 4.5 inches. And what that extra 1/16 of an inch is, because the lid is going to come down and sit over the top of this, it just gives us enough leeway to add our DSP on and make sure the lid is going to sit snugly on the top of the base. So 4 pieces, which are 3.5 plus a 1/16 by 4.5 inches. Again, along the 4.5 inch side, we're going to score at half, 1.5 and 4. Rotate the piece so you've got the 1/2 inch tab at the top and the 1 inch and the 1/2 inch section at the bottom, and score at 1/2 inch. Rotate the piece 180 degrees, score at 1/2 inch down to the second score line. And we now need to compensate for the extra 1/16 of an inch. So we're going to flip the piece over. So our piece that we've just scored is here, and we're going to score at 1 inch down to the second score line. And we're now going to do our additional scoring and our cutting in exactly the same way as we did with the bottom pieces. So then add your pieces together in exactly the same way. If you take your top half, you should find that that sits nicely on top, like so. So we can now add our lid, and you really want to take your time to make sure that you do get this nice and square and looking neat, because obviously this is going to be what you're going to see. So I am going to trim a little bit off of the edge of each of those, and then add the top section into place. And for the top of the box, you'll need a piece which is 2 1/16 times 2 1/16. So it's a 1/16 of an inch bigger than the piece that you need for the bottom. So I'm going to get that stuck on the top like so. So the box is now ready for decoration. Here's the decorated box. You can see I've added DSP onto all the panels and on the top, and just this tassel effect on the top. I'll give you the DSP sizes that I've used. So for this section, and the same on the lid, this is 1 3/4 by 3/4. The narrow section is 1/4 by 2 3/4, and the top and bottom I've cut exactly the same size. I've ignored the 1/16 of an inch on the top section, and I started with a piece of cardstock which I made a template from, which was 2 1/4 high, 2 3/4 across, narrowing to 1 3/4. I cut one from some scrap cardstock and laid it against each side just to make sure that I was happy with the look. I'm really happy with how this box has come out, and as I said at the beginning, it would be very easy to reshape this to suit your needs. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel, and until next time, Thanks for watching.